Trump wants Greenland, but does he know that this strategy is pushing the world into a trade war? And this could cost you when buying a car. Tensions are rising, and the ripple effects might make things more expensive for everyday consumers.
We need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time.
Trump is making waves again by reproposing the idea of buying Greenland. With its rich resources and strategic location, he believes it's a steal for U.S. national security. But this story is not as simple as he thinks. Greenland and Denmark have responded strongly.
Dear President Trump, listen very carefully. Greenland has been part of the Danish kingdom for 800 years. It's an integrated part of our country. It is not for sale.
And it's not just Greenland. Europe, especially Germany and France, have sided with Denmark and strongly opposed the idea. This is not just a territorial dispute, but a struggle over sovereignty and the right to self-determination. So, how does this affect you? It's the US-EU trade war. Trump has bluntly accused the EU of unfair trade practices, claiming that millions of European cars flood US roads, while American cars face numerous barriers to entering the European market. With this move, Trump is not only pushing for higher tariffs on European cars, but also threatening major car manufacturers like Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes, forcing them to reconsider their expansion plans in the US. But Europe is not backing down easily. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, has declared that the EU will retaliate strongly if tariffs are imposed. German and French leaders, including Chancellor Olaf Scholz and President Emmanuel Macron, have stated that they cannot accept such a trade imbalance. If a tariff war occurs, you might end up paying more when buying a car. Car prices will rise, and if you're looking to buy a Tesla electric car, this will directly impact you. The crisis doesn't stop at the trade war. Tesla, the leader in the electric vehicle industry, is now facing a new storm. Denmark, once one of Tesla's key markets in Europe, has made Musk headache as the country's pension funds collectively pull out of Tesla. The reason? Tesla's stance against unions and its refusal to sign collective bargaining agreements with workers. Funds like Pension Denmark and Akademiker Pension, with billions of dollars in assets, have lost patience with Tesla and decided to remove the company from their investment portfolios. This not only affects Tesla's image, but also fuels growing public dissatisfaction with the company's labor policies. On top of that, strikes across Northern Europe, especially in Denmark, have blocked Tesla vehicles, escalating tensions between Tesla and labor unions in Europe. And so, we are faced with an undeniable truth. Tesla, once a symbol of innovation, is now facing a crisis. In Germany, the largest electric car market in Europe, Tesla's sales dropped by 76% in just February 2025. Meanwhile, the electric vehicle market as a whole saw a 30% growth. What's the reason? Tesla is losing the consumer trust, and this is not because their cars are bad, but because of labor issues and the increasing competition from European car manufacturers. Especially German consumers, a nation known for their love of brands like Mercedes and BMW, are now turning their backs on Tesla. A recent survey shows that up to 94% of Germans no longer want to buy a Tesla. This proves that the rise of European electric car makers like Volkswagen and Renault is slowly reclaiming Tesla's market share. And it's not just that. Elon Musk's increasing involvement in European politics, especially his support for the far-right AfD party in Germany, is further eroding Tesla's public trust.
Frankly, too much of a focus on past guilt, and we need to move beyond that. Children should not be guilty of the sins of their parents.
So, what do you think? Are you willing to pay more for a Tesla car in the future? But don't rush to conclusions, because the next developments will be even more surprising. Europe strikes back. How Donald Trump and Elon Musk are shaking up the continent. Tesla lost 45% of its sales in Europe in just January 2025. Meanwhile, Donald Trump declared that Greenland is essential.
Well, I think it'll happen, and I'm just thinking, I didn't give it much thought before, but I'm sitting with a man that could be very instrumental. You know, Mark, we need that for international security, not just security, international. We have a lot of our favorite players, cruising around the coast.
To the US, Europe responded fast, divesting from Tesla and taking a hard stance on territorial sovereignty. What's really going on? 1. Trump's push for Greenland, a power move or a costly gamble? On March 13, 2025, during a meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Donald Trump reaffirmed his ambition to take control of Greenland, calling it a national security priority. He stated, "We need it, and it will happen." But Trump's statement ignited instant backlash. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen immediately shut it down, declaring, "Greenland is not for sale. It is part of Denmark, and that's final."
And it's not for sale. The chairman, the leader of Greenland, has been very clear that they are not for sale.
The EU and NATO quickly backed Denmark, making it crystal clear. No part of the EU's territory is up for negotiation. Their firm stance sends a bold message. Europe won't let the US throw its weight around. But while the US government focuses on Greenland, a major crisis is unfolding in an unexpected sector: Tesla. 2. Tesla's meltdown in Europe, a self-inflicted disaster. Big investors are dumping Tesla stock at the start of 2025. Two of Denmark's largest pension funds announced they were pulling out of Tesla completely and blacklisting the company. Why? Accusations of unfair labor practices, weak corporate governance, and Elon Musk's controversial political moves. Akademiker Pension, one of Denmark's biggest pension funds, sold off all its Tesla shares and placed the company on its exclusion list. Pension Denmark, another major investor, dumped over 400 million krone, $58 million USD, in Tesla stock, citing ongoing labor disputes. Why Europe is turning its back on Tesla. Back in late 2023, Tesla refused to sign a labor agreement with Swedish workers, leading to massive strikes. But it didn't stop there. Unions across Denmark, Norway, and Finland joined in, blocking Tesla shipments and paralyzing operations. The impact? Tesla's northern European operations came to a halt. Service centers in Sweden shut down. Major ports in Norway and Denmark refused to handle Tesla shipments. And just when Tesla thought it couldn't get worse, it did. 3. Tesla's sales collapse. Can it recover? According to the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, ACA, Tesla's sales in Europe plunged 45% in January 2025, while competitors surged ahead. By the end of 2024, Tesla's European sales had dropped 10.8%, 8 times worse than the overall market decline. Why? Tesla isn't just losing sales, it's losing trust. A UK survey found that 59% of EV buyers refused to buy a Tesla, not because of the car's performance, but because they didn't want to be associated with Elon Musk. In Germany and France, Tesla is losing ground fast. While Volkswagen, Renault, and Chinese EV brands are taking over, Musk's politics are backfiring on Tesla. Elon Musk has increasingly alienated European consumers, publicly backing Germany's far-right AfD party, criticizing the UK government, and aligning with Italy's nationalist Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. At the same time, he slammed EU environmental policies, calling them barriers to innovation. The fallout? 59% of UK customers now refuse to buy a Tesla because of Musk. Tesla's market share in Germany and France is shrinking fast, while Volkswagen, Renault, and Chinese EVs gain momentum. One EU official summed it up. Musk was once a green tech icon. Now he's an opponent of European values. What happens next? With Tesla struggling and Europe pushing back against Trump, the question is, can Tesla win back European customers? Will the US shift its strategy to prevent a bigger rift with the EU? Stay tuned, this story is far from over. After Canada announced a $760 billion USD plan to retaliate against Trump's tariffs, the EU quickly responded with a $40 billion USD retaliatory tariff package. Is this the beginning of a global trade war? The European Union didn't take long to respond. Right after President Trump imposed a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum, the EU quickly introduced a €26 billion retaliatory tariff package, equivalent to about $40 billion US.
Similar to Canada's, they've been very quick and very strict, announcing retaliatory duties on industrial and farm products totaling €26 billion.
The products targeted include industrial items like machinery, cars, and agricultural goods like fruits, vegetables, and wine. Recently, the EU has imposed tariffs on over 2,800 US products, including items like Levi's jeans, whiskey, and Boeing spacecraft. US businesses, particularly in agriculture and industry, will face significant losses due to the loss of export markets. And not only that, they will also face increased production costs. Trade between Canada and the EU has grown by 7% since the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, took effect. A wave of Canadian businesses has quickly taken advantage of this agreement, shifting from the US to potential markets in Europe and Asia. What will the future hold for US businesses? Mexico, one of the US's largest trade partners and the second largest steel exporter, has chosen a slow and steady approach in its response. They didn't rush to impose retaliatory measures immediately. The Mexican government, under President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, decided to negotiate and seek a peaceful solution. But at the same time, they didn't rule out the possibility of imposing tariffs on US goods if necessary. However, Mexico isn't just facing the impact of US tariffs, but also dealing with a decline in exports and the escalating trade tensions that could greatly affect its economy. Analysts forecast that Mexico's steel industry will need to reduce output, while the agricultural sector will face significant challenges, dealing with higher tariffs on products like tomatoes and avocados. The situation in Brazil is not much different. As the second largest steel exporter to the US, Brazil is trying to find a way to respond to this decision. Brazil's finance minister, Fernando Haddad, criticized the US tariffs as unreasonable and wrong, and declared that they would seek legal measures at the World Trade Organization, WTO. However, like Mexico, Brazil has decided not to rush into retaliation, but instead will patiently pursue negotiation options to avoid escalating tensions. Tariff retaliations not only affect the partner countries, but also have a significant impact on US businesses. The steel industry will be one of the most affected sectors, as the new tariffs will raise the cost of imported steel, increasing production costs in US factories. This not only drives up product prices, but also diminishes the competitiveness of US products in the international market. The EU has shown strength in this decision and has not hesitated to respond forcefully.
Is to counterbalance the increased trade value affected by the US tariffs while minimizing the impact on European businesses and consumers. But the disruption caused by tariffs is avoidable if the US administration accepts our...
However, the issue is not just about the tariffs, but also the political relationship. EU countries have agreed that the US tariff policy not only has a negative impact on the global economy, but also disrupts stability in international trade relations. Stay tuned, because the twists and turns could impact you. Trump has just escalated the trade war with Canada, and you won't believe it. Could this be the wrong move leading to the next economic disaster?
Canada should honestly become our 51st state. We wouldn't have a northern border problem. We wouldn't have a tariff problem.
Never has the relationship between the US and Canada been this tense. President Trump, instead of easing the situation, has escalated tensions to a new level, not only attacking trade partners like China and the EU. Trump now sees Canada as a potential competitor. In a shocking statement, he suggested that Canada should become the 51st state of the US, citing clear reasons like military cost savings and tax cuts for the Canadian people. Recently, home prices in major cities like Vancouver and Toronto have surpassed $1 million, making the cost of living in Canada alarmingly high. However, Canada also has high income taxes, up to 53.3% for those earning over 150,000 Canadian dollars, which only adds to Trump's concerns about Canada becoming a strong competitor. Tensions between the two countries are escalating, as Canadian officials have spoken out against Trump's decision. However, some experts believe this could be Trump's strategy to put pressure on trade partners in an effort to push for deals that benefit the US. Not only facing a trade war, Trump is also dealing with the collapse of the US stock market. The Dow Jones has dropped sharply, showing just how much economic instability is impacting the American people. Recently, the Dow Jones fell 5% in just 1 month, and the unemployment rate rose to 4.3% in January, showing the negative consequences of Trump's economic policies.
Getting close to 600 points now, 622 points down right now, 622. It's all fueled by the enormous uncertainty.
In just 1 month, concerns about a recession are growing, as Trump's decisions on tariffs and trade policies have hit key industries hard. However, Trump continues to blame global forces in the media, insisting that the negative news about the economy is simply being exaggerated by the press. While the economy is plummeting, Trump has openly supported Elon Musk, a controversial decision, as he declared he would buy a Tesla to support the billionaire. But can this really help an economy struggling with a crisis? Tesla reported strong quarterly earnings, surpassing expectations. But its stock price dropped 20% due to concerns over the impact of the trade war and the uncertainty in the global economy. The consumer price index in the US is on the rise, making it harder for Tesla's tech products to maintain stable prices. As the economy faces a crisis, the White House continues to blame the media and global factors. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt constantly blames the media for exacerbating the situation with inaccurate reports.
And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated.
She also doesn't hesitate to blame global forces for weakening the U.S. economy. A Gallup poll shows that 60% of Americans don't trust Trump's economic policies and believe the media has fueled confusion about the economy. Reports from Pew Research Center show that over 65% of Americans think economic news from the media does not accurately reflect reality. Although the media may play a role in worsening the public's mindset, the reality is that Trump's policies and strategies are having direct impacts on the economy, especially as people worry about a potential recession. With the market collapsing, the trade war escalating, and the controversial decisions from the Trump administration, the U.S. is entering a very challenging phase. Can the trade war and Trump's risky decisions save the economy, or will things only get worse? Stay tuned, because the next developments might just surprise you. Over $1.4 trillion vanished from the stock market in a matter of hours, not because of a financial crisis, not because of war, but because of one statement from Donald Trump. Trump just stunned the world with a shocking announcement about Greenland? But why is Greenland so important? Why is Wall Street in full-blown panic mode? In a surprise press conference, Donald Trump announced that the U.S. already has military presence in Greenland and may send even more troops. This statement immediately sparked fears of a new conflict in the Arctic, a region already under intense geopolitical competition.
Very important. You know, we have a couple of bases on Greenland already, and we have quite a few soldiers, and maybe you'll see more and more soldiers go there. I don't know.
The stock market reacted instantly. The Dow Jones plummeted by 540 points. The S&P 500 neared correction territory. Investors fear that the U.S. may be dragged into an unnecessary military buildup. At a time when the economy is already struggling with inflation, supply chain disruptions, and global instability. Trump didn't stop with military expansion. He revived his 2019 idea of purchasing Greenland. Despite Denmark previously rejecting it outright, he even went further, suggesting that Canada would function best as an American state, a statement that shocked allies and raised serious diplomatic tensions. NATO leaders responded immediately. Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte firmly rejected Trump's idea, stating that NATO has no role in supporting such an outrageous plan. Meanwhile, Greenlanders voiced strong opposition. A survey found that 85% of Greenland's population opposed any attempt to become part of the U.S. One Greenland resident made it clear, "We are not a product for sale."
Vision for the potential annexation of Greenland and getting the potential.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll happen, and I'm just thinking, I didn't give it much thought before, but I'm sitting with a man that could be very instrumental. You know, Mark, we need that for international security, not just security, international.
Yes. And basically, I don't know what he's aiming at.
Og jeg kan læne mig fuldstændig op af Kim Kielsens udtalelse. Selvfølgelig er Grønland ikke til salg, og i øvrigt er Grønland ikke Danmarks. Altså Grønland er grønlændernes.
After Trump's series of shocking statements, the U.S. financial markets went into free fall. Within just one day, the Dow Jones collapsed by over 1,400 points, officially turning negative for the year. Major corporations took a massive hit. Apple plunged 5.7%. Nvidia crashed 6.1%. JP Morgan dropped 5.9%. Even the S&P 500 broke below its 200-day moving average, triggering a wave of panic selling across Wall Street. Many financial experts are now warning that if Trump continues with his unpredictable policies, the U.S. could enter a mild recession by late 2025. The Federal Reserve may be forced to cut interest rates earlier than expected, to prevent a deeper economic collapse. Meanwhile, the Biden administration and Democratic leaders may have to step in to counteract the economic and diplomatic chaos triggered by Trump's latest moves. So, what should investors do now? Hold cash reserves. Avoid major investments in tech and finance for now. Focus on energy and defense stocks. These sectors could benefit from the geopolitical turmoil. Watch for Federal Reserve signs. Any move to stabilize interest rates could shift market dynamics. Don't look away. What comes next could directly impact you.